Welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. How you doing today? It's Friday. Happy Friday for you working stiffs out there. I hope you're going to have a good weekend. So obviously we're not going to be talking about the Bears playing in any playoff games, so that's going to be. But I will mention that I was actually 5 for 5 last weekend. I only picked on the air 4 games because I forgot the Monday night game, but I picked that winner too. So I'm just saying, 5 for 5. But it wasn't too hard to pick those winners. Now that the stinkers are out, the ones that really didn't even belong in the playoffs, this weekend's game should be really good. So we'll talk about those at the end. But what I want to talk about today is the Bears head coaching search. I'm really not going to get into the general manager because honestly, I'm just not. I mean, I'm interested in it because I want a good general manager. Don't get me wrong. It just I'm more interested in the head coach because to me that is much more important because that's our daily activity and that's who I'm going to be dealing with next season and that's who I'm going to be talking about on my show. So the Bears have made quite a few interviews, which is good because when they hired Nagy, they didn't interview that many people, so that's a good thing. And there's one thing I want to say though. Please, people, please don't get your news from Facebook because those stories out there, some of the stories I've read, I was laughing so hard at one of them about the Bears trading Fields. I almost peed in my pants. I swear to God. And somebody my age, that happens, Yeah, it does. But please, people. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, all the notes I have taken and everything, is basically from a reporter in Illinois, works for NBC. So you know that the facts are going to be good. But just, there are so many stories going on there, so I'm going to give you some facts right now on what's going on, and you can take this to the bank on what they've done so far. Who they're going to hire, I don't know. So so let's just get to it, okay? So on January 12th, they did hire Doug Peterson, who was last the Philadelphia Eagles coach, and he won a Super Bowl with them in 2017. And he left Philadelphia with a record of 42-37-1. But anybody, in my opinion, affiliated with Nagy or that Nagy, Andy Reid, I don't want. No. So I'm putting a big no on that one, but we'll see. I'm going to have to live with whoever they pick, right? But so I'm just saying, because they fired him 2 years after he won the Super Bowl, and he was 42-37. So I don't know. I just don't got a good feel for Doug Peterson, so I'm just going to say no to him, okay? Then the Bears on January 14th, they interviewed Brian Flores, who was fired from the Dolphins in the off season after the season was over. This is an interesting thing, this guy. I know the Bears seem to be pretty smitten with this guy from what I've been reading. Flores did have 2 back-to-back winning seasons with Miami, which is no easy feat. We all know they've stunk for so long. And in 2021, they actually lost 7 in a row, and after that, they came back and won 7 in a row. So then they had a 7 in a row streak. So, but why did Miami fire him? Because it seemed like he was turning that system around. Well, the rumors were that he was fighting with their GM, and he didn't like the quarterback that he came into, which was Tua. And that's interesting because when you took the damn head job, you knew that was going to be your quarterback. So, I don't get it. You knew... I don't know. But anyways, so he didn't like that they drafted Tua. He didn't like the choice. And so there was a lot of rumors that he can be maybe trouble. So that worries me a little, but you don't know. Maybe it's good trouble, right? Maybe he's somebody who, wants to win. Maybe let's face it now. Anybody who's going to be hired knows that Justin Fields for now is the quarterback, and that is who you have to mentor and make good. Number one thing for the Bears with this head coach is you got to get this kid in to be a winner. He's got some work to do, people. He is not, everyone's, oh, he's so great and this and that. And I'm not saying he's not going to be good. So everybody calm down. But he's still young, and I got to tell you what, he fumbled the ball 12 times this year. You can't have that. And he's still got to read the defenses. He's young, and he had Matt Nagy as his coach, so that was a big strike right there. So I don't know. With Brian Flores, I'm on the fence about this one, so I don't really know. So then the Bears brought in Jim Caldwell on the 15th. And Caldwell has been around for a while. He's been head coach twice. He was a head coach for the Colts from 2009 to 2011. And then he was a head coach of the sad Detroit Lions. And he was 2014 through 2017. Again, remember, we could be a Detroit Lion fan, so it could be worse, right? So, and his all-time head coach record was 62-50, even being the head coach for the Lions. He's had only 2 losing seasons compared to 5 winning seasons, so that's a good thing. His best year with the Colts was when the team went 14-2, but lost in the Super Bowl to Drew Brees. So he got him to the Super Bowl when he was, So, and then he hasn't coached since 2019 when he was a assistant head coach, quarterback coach for the Dolphins. So I don't know. I'm just kind of a no on him. I don't know. He could be good. He could be bad. Maybe he's learned. But right now I'm sticking with no. The next candidate I definitely don't want, but it's Nathaniel Hackett. He was interviewed on the 15th as well, and he is the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. And he's done some good things, but he's got Aaron Rodgers, for Christ's sake. He's got Adams. So, is he that good, or is the talent that good? And he hasn't been around long, and he doesn't hardly have any coaching experience. And for me, that would be a big no. We don't want somebody who, look what we had the last 4 years, Nagy, okay? And we don't want that again. And he just, to me, does not have a lad. He hasn't proven himself in the league. Again, you've got some talent on that team, and you've got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be good no matter who coaches him on offense. That's just a fact. I can't stand the Packers. I really can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a conceited narcissist. It's all about him. So I say no to that guy, Nathaniel. Then on the 16th, the Bears brought in Brian Daboll, who is the offensive coordinator, as most people know, for the Buffalo Bills. And he started his chops more or less, if you don't count college. He was in the Canadian Football League as an offensive coordinator for a while, and now he's with the Buffalo Bills. He had previously served, though, as offensive coordinators for the Browns, Dolphins, Kansas City, and then he was offensive coordinator for the Alabama Crimson Tide for a while. So this guy is interesting, He's turned Josh Allen around, because Josh Allen, when he first came in the league, did not have the first good year, although rookie quarterbacks generally don't. There's only maybe a couple that have. So he's an interesting candidate. I'm not sure about him, but I believe that the Bears, there's 2 thoughts to this. So in my lifetime, I've been a Bears fan since 1975, and out of all the coaches, although I liked Jack Pardee in the day back in the 70s, but he didn't stay long, the two winningest coaches, I believe, in my era are Ditka and Lovie Smith. Ditka was an offensive-minded guy. Lovie Smith was defense. So it's hard to tell because I did the history, and there's not really a standout. Should we go one way or the other? I'm thinking we should go offense so that we can have a guy that can really mentor Justin Fields. But if you get a defensive-minded coach, head coach, he's going to work on the defense, which is pretty good now and could only get better. And if he were to really hire a really great offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, then your problem would be solved. So I'm torn because you can get an offensive head coach, offensive coordinator, and turn him into your head coach, and then he can go out and get a really good defensive coordinator. There are some good ones out there, and actually, I would have no problem keeping the guy we have now. I really don't. I think he got better and better and better, but we'll see. So Brian from the Bills, I'm intrigued by. I kind of like him. So I would say yes. I could live with him. So we'll see. Then on January 17th, the Bears interviewed Matt, and I cannot say his last name. It's Eberflus. Flores? I don't know. I'm terrible. You know me. Pickled. He is the defensive coordinator for the Colts right now. And actually, the Bears just announced yesterday they have requested a second interview in person with him. First interviews are done on Zoom. He is coming in for a second interview in person, but the Jaguars have also asked for a second interview with this guy. So he must be a pretty good interviewer, you know. So he's been a defensive coordinator for the Colts, and he's also was a linebacker coach for Cleveland and Dallas, as well as he coached in college at Toledo and Missouri. So I don't know. You know what? They said he's very smart, and he's also developed some of the best linebackers in the game. Leonard, Sean Lee. He worked with greats like DeMarcus Wade. So I don't know. You know what? This guy, if the Bears are bringing him back, they must like what they see. So now he's defense. So if he were to be hired, then we know our defense is going to be fine. So then he would have to have a really good offensive coordinator. I think I could maybe live with this guy. I was reading. They're just, people really like him. He seems real smart. But again, no head coaching experience. And I know we're probably not going to get one who has a head coaching experience unless they go with Caldwell or Leslie Frazier, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one too, so I'm not sure. I could live with them. Let's put it that way. It's not a fast no. Then the next one, this is the one I was really interested in, besides Jim Harbaugh, which does not look like. What I read today is he's had a contract extension on his desk for 2 weeks from University of Michigan because he turned everything around. So I don't see him coming to the NFL. I think he might stay where he is, and who could blame him, right? But then there's rumors that if he does come to the NFL, he's going to the Raiders. So, although that's the team right down the street from me. But they're not my team and never will be. The Bears will always be my team. Okay, so then Byron Leftwich of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator, he was interviewed yesterday. And I kind of like, he's got a pretty big, remember he played in the NFL. He was a quarterback in the NFL for a while. He played for the Jaguars. He played for Falcons. He played for the Steelers. He played for Tampa Bay. He actually played for the Steelers twice. He left and came back. I don't know. He's played a lot. He was not like a fantastic. He was a good second, a nice, solid backup quarterback. But he played in the NFL. And I feel that he could really really understand Justin Fields, really could mentor him because he played the position, right? So he started coaching in Arizona in 2016 as a quarterback coach, and during the 2018 season, after the offensive coordinator in Arizona was fired during the season, they promoted Byron Leftwich to their OC for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, after that season was over in 18, they fired everybody offensively, so he didn't even have a chance. So, and that's when he went to Tampa Bay in 19, and he's back with Bruce Arians. And I like this guy. He has coaching experience, and he's played the position, which is huge. I think it really says a lot, and I think he could really relate to Justin Fields. So I don't know. I really like him. Of course, Tom Brady made him look good. Again, here's another guy like Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady is going to make any offensive coordinator look good because he's just good. He's good. And it don't matter. He's proven it doesn't matter who coaches him because he went from years of, the Patriots of winning, and then he goes to Tampa Bay and wins a Super Bowl his first year. So that just tells you it's just pure raw talent on Brady's point. I don't dislike him as much as I do Brady, but I don't want him winning again this year because I get tired of the same teams winning the Super Bowl every year. It gets boring, and I love that game, and boy, I'd love it more and more if we see the Bears in it. So we need a head coach that can do that, right? So Leftwich is a yes for me. The next one they're supposed to be interviewing is today, the 21st, and that is Leslie Frazier, who is the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And if you know, you may not know. He also played for the Chicago Bears, and unfortunately, in the 1985 Super Bowl, Ditka, after we were creaming the Patriots, put him in there for a punt return, and he hurt his knee. And he was never the same at that. He had operations, and he could never play again after that. He shouldn't even have been in there doing that, but Ditka also didn't let Walter Payton score a touchdown either. So two pretty stupid moves from that Super Bowl. But so anyways, so what then he did is he became head coach of a college in Illinois, small college called Trinity College, which Illinois people know, for 9 seasons. And then in 1999, he joined the Eagles as the backfield coach for 4 years, and then in 2003 and 2004 he was the D coordinator for Cincinnati. In 2005 he went to Indy to be an assistant D coordinator, and then he received special assistant to the head coach too. After winning the Super Bowl, which they beat the Bears in 2006, so he beat us. That's when he joined Minnesota as the D coordinator in 2007. And then so he was still with Minnesota. In 2010, during the season, the head coach was fired, and they put Leslie Frazier as interim head coach. And then the following year, in 2011, they hired him as the permanent head coach, and that ended in 2013 when he was fired. So not so good there. But, the thing about Leslie is a lot of people are like, no, I don't want an ex-Bear and this and that. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because he knows the traditions. And I'll tell you what, he'll know that one of the first things we need to start doing is beating those Green Bay Packers twice a year, every year. If not one, twice a year, and that's important. That was one of the first things Lovie Smith, I'll never forget, in his press conference said when we hired him, said, now we're going to start beating the Packers, and guess what? We did, under Lovie. So then Leslie was hired in 2014 by Tampa Bay, stayed there, and then a couple years, and then in 2016 he joined the Ravens. And then in 2017, he was hired as the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And then in 2020, he was promoted to assistant head coach. So he's got a lot of experience, a lot. Now, head coaching, not the greatest record, but lot of experience, and he has learned. And if he's learned from his mistakes, then he could have a really good career with the Bears. I think, especially if he could make them win. You know what I mean? So I kind of like Leslie Frazier. I know there's a lot of people that don't. Again, he's a defensive-minded head coach. If we hired him. So he's got to get a really, really good offensive coordinator. So really what I've been saying the whole show is we do hire a defensive coordinator. They have got to be on their game and get one of the best OCs out there because we need it for Justin Fields. He needs mentoring. He needs work. So, but I'm going to go with Leslie Frazier I could live with him. Then on the 22nd, we're supposed to be interviewing Dan Quinn. And he is currently with he's a defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And but he started out as a defensive coordinator for Seattle. And he helped them win a Super Bowl in 2015. Then he was hired by the Falcons as the head coach and led them to a Super Bowl appearance. But the big bad thing about him, and I blame the head coach for this as well as the players, that was the Super Bowl where they were up, 28-3 going into the fourth quarter against the Patriots, and they lost that game. And I'll never forget it because at the end of the third quarter, I was watching the Falcon players on the field, and they were high-fiving each other like the game was over. No, there's another 15 minutes, and we all know, being Bears fans, that anything can happen. And guess what? It did. The Falcons lost. And the Patriots won at the end of the game. And, that's definitely on the players for, believing the game was over. But the coaching staff, and particularly head coach, should have saw what I saw. I mean, I'm this old lady sitting at home watching this game, pickled brain and all, and I saw it, and I even said it to my son, oh, my God, they act like the game's over, and it's not. And they lost. So for that, I say no. I'm sorry. That just is a big no for me. And then the last guy they're going to interview is scheduled for January 22nd, and that is defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, Todd Bowles. Todd has worked, he was, last week, they beat the last team. So, but Tampa Bay. The defense last year was better than I believe it is this year. So I'm not a real fan of this guy. I'm not sure this would be a good fit for us. Yes, they beat the Chiefs last year. They shut down Patrick Mahomes last year. I will say that. So. And when he became the Buccaneers defensive coordinator in 2019, he inherited a team that was 31st in allowing points. And by the second year, 2020, they were 8th in the league in allowing points. So he definitely improved that defense, no doubt about it. He was already a head coach with the Jets from 2015 to 2018, and that didn't go well. But honestly, the Jets are so screwed up and have been so screwed up for a long, long time that I don't even know if I can blame them for that. They're just bad, bad, bad. So I have a yes and no on him. He seems to have a lot of experience. But I'm almost going to say no. You know what? I'm going to take it back and I'm going to say no. I don't want him. I don't. So those are, and that's the truth. What you've heard today is who they've interviewed and who they're going to interview, and that's it. So anything else you've read is bullshit, okay? So ignore it. You're getting the truth from Lynn and the Let's Talk Chicago Bears show. I mean, have I ever steered you guys wrong? No, in the last 2 years. No. I mean, I may get some names wrong and this and that, but give it to you how I see it. So we'll see. We'll see, you guys. So now you know my choices. Of course, I don't have a say in it, which is a little rude. George and I are a little tight, and I think he should call me. That's all I'm saying. I'll tell him who to hire. It does scare me a little bit that. Whoops, my microphone fell over. This process. We need to get a GM in there right now. I don't know what's taking so long, but they better get going. And I did hear something on the NFL channel the other day. One of the guys said that once the first team hires a head coach, all of a sudden you're going to see all of them start hiring because they don't want their choices to be taken up on them. So maybe that's a good thing. Hopefully we can pick this up, but the Bears really need to have the GM first so that he agrees with who he hires for head coach, because we don't want to start off on the wrong foot. You just shouldn't do coach first and then GM. It doesn't bode well. So, and the one thing they did say that's in that the defensive coordinator for Indy, is that Bill Poland, who is a consultant for us, helping us find both GMs and head coaches, more GMs, I think, he knows Matt very well. So that might have a reason they've called him back for second interview. We'll see. So that's my choices, and I'm sticking to it. You can always comment and tell me what you think. I know my regulars will, because I just know they will. And then the playoff games. We got some good playoff games coming this weekend. You know how I love playoff football, but then this time of year starts to make me sad because football's almost over. Okay, so the first game tomorrow on Saturday is the Titans and the Bengals, and my pick is Tennessee. I actually picked Tennessee to win the Super Bowl in the beginning of the year, and I really wanted to go make a bet at the casino because the odds and I figured, what the heck, and now I'm thinking I should have, but we'll see. It depends how now Derrick Henry is going to play in this game tomorrow, but he's been out for quite a while. I don't know over a month, if not 6 weeks, so we'll see. There might be some rust there, but if he can pick up where he left off, totally Tennessee tomorrow. So my pick is Tennessee. And then the evening game is 49ers and Green Bay. And all I got to say is, go 49ers. Niners. Never been a huge fan of the Niners, but I always like to see Green Bay win, especially when everyone's picking them to win the Super Bowl. Because you know how I feel. I can't stand them. So I'm going upset 49ers in Green Bay. I know it. And then the Sunday game, first one is Rams and Tampa Bay. And I'm going Rams. I am. I'm going Rams, and I really hope the Rams win again because I get tired of the same teams, like I said. But that's not why I'm picking the Rams. I just think. But the thing about the Rams, though, is they could be cold and hot and cold, hot and cold. They played great last week against Arizona, although Arizona stunk up the field. But if the Rams could play like that again and Matthew doesn't throw any interceptions, they're going to win this game. And then the last game for Sunday night is the Bills and the Chiefs, which I think is going to be a great game. But I'm picking the Bills. I just feel they're really hot right now. Chiefs are good, but I really feel that the Bills are really hot right now. So I'm going to go with them as winners. So we'll see how I do this week, right? And then, I just, we're coming down at the end of the season, and I got to say, though, it was a shitty season, I know it, and a lot of people were back to work, so my viewership on my shows, they were that great. They were like 60 to 70 people a show, sometimes 50, but it got worse as the season went on, and I know, because no one wanted to hear about the Bears games. They watched them. They don't want to hear me talk about them the next day, how shitty they were. So, but since they've fired Nagy and Pace, my viewers, like my last show, was over 320. And for me, that's a lot. And I know I'm not like a YouTube sensation, but I don't care. I just like doing it, talking to you people. If I make you laugh and I give you some information, and you can count on my information being right, then, I'm cool. So, we'll see. keep on watching. I'll do this show. Obviously, I did this show. And next week, we'll see what happens with if the Bears hire anybody. Of course, if the Bears hire somebody, I'm going to do a show. GM and head coach. So you can look for me if that happens, okay? So keep an eye out. And as always, I want to thank you viewers, especially the ones that watch me every week. This week I had kind of a cool thing. There's a woman, she was a girl then, but that I, back in high school, was on the softball team with her. She was our pitcher, and I'm just going to say her first name, Kathy, and we've kind of reconnected, and we're actually going to meet up in Scottsdale, or not Scottsdale, in Phoenix to see the Sox-Cubs game, and so I'm going to see her then. But she said she watches my show, and I'm like, wow, really? She goes, I like it. It's funny, and you're good. And so I'm like, shout out to Kathy. Thank you. You know, it's been a long time, you know, so it's pretty cool that she's watching. And I don't know who else is watching, but thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I say it all the time. And I also say this too. Please be kind. Stop hate. Let's just stick together. Let's all love each other. Be kind to people. Somebody did the nicest thing again for me yesterday. I was in the store. I picked up, I forgot what I was picking up, but probably beer. And it came to something 10 cents, you know, whatever. $10.10. And I'm like, I opened my change purse, and there wasn't a cent in there. And I'm like, damn it. And she's like, the woman behind the cash register goes, I got a dime. I gotcha. And so she gave me all cash back, dollars. I didn't have to get all that change. Now, that was cool. And then she had said to me and this one lady that were in line, we were talking about being old, she goes, you guys look fantastic for your age. And I'm like, dang, your mother raised you right. So there are still good people out there. And I'm trying to be good all the time. And I know my viewers are doing that too. So just be kind. We need each other. And you just don't know what's going on in somebody's life. You really, really don't, okay? Because I've lived a life, believe me, and I lived a tough life with my husband being sick for so long and having to carry the load, being the only one working, raising a child. So, you know, you don't know what's really going on in somebody's life. But I always managed to have a smile on my face every day when I went into the office. So, you know, a lot of people didn't always know. But I'll stop preaching. All right. As always, I love you guys. Let's have a good weekend. Let's hope all my teams win that I just picked. And let's really hope Green Bay loses. Okay. As always, guys, I'll see you next time. And keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Bye-bye.